Well, hey folks, how is everybody? I hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's had a great day. What are we doing? I've been using my log splitter for things other than splitting wood. I've been using it as a log holder. I can't take credit for that. I think I seen Briscoe doing that. It's the first person I seen doing it. It does work handy for that, but I used it to cut up a lot of these little small branches and limbs. This is the second day I've done this, I guess. The video ain't about the log splitter, but you can use them for that. Works great. My little log stand I've got built's kind of covered in poison vine and got brush and a bunch of garbage from the tornado piled up all around it, so we're slowly cleaning things up. I've got the backyard looking most of the way back to the way it was. What the video, I guess, is about is me running my mouth about this little beast of a saw. You guys that have been around or on the channel know that we had a subscriber send us this just to play with, see what we could do with it. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I guess the video's over 20 minutes long, so I was like, going through and doing the edits, I was like, this is boring as shit, I better talk over it. Talk about the saw a little bit, the channel, other things. Welcome to any newcomers. Thanks to everybody that's hung around. Again, like I've said in other videos, I'll not ask anybody to click the thumbs up button, but I will say it does help the video if you do. Just it is what it is, I guess, but that's how the rating system works. But anyway, about this little saw, I've done it before and after, ran it stock. I don't do those to like toot my own horn or anything. I do it to show people what they can get out of and what they can expect to get out of a saw. My port work's nothing spectacular. I think I've had one person flame my port work, say it looked like crap. Whatever, it is what it is. Some of you may have figured out who that was by now. If so, that's fine. I don't really care. I show most things up close that I do. Although when I showed the port work on this and got in to the editor, I was like, ah, that looked like crap. Camera was out of focus. I half had it in frame. I promise you it was nothing spectacular. It was anything most anyone could do. That's kind of what I want to get at here about this saw. It could have been taken further. You guys know I have a lathe. I have mandrels. We could have cut the band, could have recut the base, but I just wanted to build this one to where anybody could go buy the saw or one like it and get it and, you know, port it theirself, muffler mod it, and, you know, just show what you can get out of it. It was a 46% improvement in about a foot of red oak. Most people wouldn't even buy this little saw to cut a foot of red oak. And by the way, all of this wood here is small, but it is hardwood, some hickory, some oak. You can see some of the pieces, the hickory pieces are a little harder to cut than the red oak. Just depends on what species of hickory you're cutting. But back to the saw. You know, it was a grind only. There was no machine work, I'll promise you that. I think I showed the caliper what the squish reading was online, or on the video rather. I think it was 26 thousandths. I chose to go with a little lower roof on the saw. It still revs out nice. If you missed the video, the numbers on it were 26 thou squish, and we got that just by pulling the base gasket. Again, no machine work. Would it benefit from it? Maybe a little bit, depending on how high you wanted to jack the exhaust roof up, but this thing had an exhaust roof past 110 without any machine work. I think it was 114, 115 or something nuts. We set the exhaust roof at 108. I set the transfers back to 130. After the base gasket delete, they were something like in the mid to upper 130s, I think 136 or 138. It's been a few days. And the intake, I set it, I think 74 and a half. I wanted it, to have good crisp throttle response. I wanted it to idle good. Wanted it to start good, and I think I let it ran the whole length of this video up till it ran out of fuel toward the end, I think over 20 minutes. And I'd ran it the day before yesterday, probably close to an hour on a tank of fuel, without ever shutting the saw off, doing this same thing. But I had a pile of these little logs that were bigger and longer, that was about double the size. I showed a big stack of wood at the end. We got two big monster piles of wood. I showed a short of this pile of wood. If you see it, you should probably seeing this on a Sunday. I probably uploaded that on a Saturday. It was like right up 20 feet long, 3 feet deep, 5 feet high. We have another pile of wood that's, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 feet deep, probably 4 feet high, probably 10 feet long, that came out of these same trees. If you're new to the channel, we had, let's see, 3 trees fall. One of them kind of went through the yard. It was a small hickory, but it was long, probably 60 feet high. The other was a big red oak. It went completely across my house and completely against this piece of property I live on. And then the other was a big hickory that done the same thing, but it kind of took out our tool shed completely, just destroyed it. And through the front half of a big metal building that I have our home gym in, and completely across my shop, and the tip of it went through a big cedar and completely over onto the neighbor's property. And honestly, today, just now, got it all cleaned up, and there's still a tree top on the very, I've got like a shed built on the back of my shop that's got a couple of go-karts and some junk in it. And that tree's still kind of laying over the top of that, but we got into yellow jackets here doing this, and like I'm gonna let it get down at least close to freezing before I go back there and remove that tree top off of the building. And, it's a hickory top, I think, and it's gonna be another big pile of wood. It's probably every bit of 75, 80 feet long, I guess, but be some nice wood again. But before this happened, I already had all of my this season's firewood set and ready to split. And I had to split a bunch of this before I could even get to that stack of wood to split it. So about the last month since the weather changed, I've been splitting and stacking, just off and on. I think the splitter's ready to be cleaned up and set aside for a little while. Really got nothing to split until I get that other tree top cut up. But anyway, this little saw's awesome. Muffler mod I done on it was simple. Just put a fish gill like toward the back of the muffler before it gets to the baffle. So you can look through it, and it's a straight shot into the exhaust port. It ain't super loud, but seems to be effective and seems to work. Kind of beat the hell out of uncrimping the muffler like on the little Craftsman we done. If you've not seen that video, I think I got 43 or 44% gain out of that saw, and they can be bought at Lowe's for about 160, 170 bucks. But these can be had for $99. If you can find one, highly recommend buying it. I believe it'll last. I think if you run a good oil mix in it, I think it'll last. One other thing I'd done, and I don't think I showed it in the build video, I did do a time in advance because I pulled the flywheel to put the degree finder on. Not a lot, probably 6 degrees. I took about 25 thousandths out of the key slot and the flywheel, and it moves just that little bit. That's just what I do on all of my saws. That keeps you from buying a key, keeps you from pulling the key out and filing it down. And it's super easy to go back to stock timing if you go too far. But I think these are a Zenoah clone, like a 3800 or something. I did measure the piston on this one. The piston did measure 41.5 millimeters. So I ain't for sure what the stroke is, probably somewhere around 30 millimeter to get that 42 cc's, but had a pretty good sized carburetor on it. I probably should have shown all that in the video. Intake on these is like super weird. It's got a pretty good opening, but going into the cylinder, it's like the teeniest, tiniest little triangle. Not sure why they done that. Probably to keep the EPA or something happy, I guess. But has a domed piston, D-shaped combustion chamber, and again, this could have had machine work. You could do some pretty serious machine work, but I just didn't want to. And it was gonna. I usually only do machine work to lower an exhaust roof. The benefits you get other than doing that are very minuscule. I've done it on some saws and set them back to the exhaust port height they were at, and the gains I got were minuscule. It does help, but it ain't the end all be all, and that's kind of why I'm showing doing these. I've done quite a few before and afters on saws on the channel without a lick of machine work. And I'm not saying it don't work or anything, so don't nobody flame me or nothing, and they are absolutely some saws that you have to machine to get the utmost performance out of them. But I wasn't trying to go that route here. I wanted a good snappy, good strong work saw. Didn't want to have to worry about whether the bottom end was going to hold up on it or not, or whether something would fly apart at 15,000 RPMs. But like I said again, it could have been taken further, but I chose not to go that route. I like the less is more approach. You guys have heard me say that here on the channel for the last 4 or 5 years, I guess. I know there's some of you have been around that long and been in the comments that long. It's been a fun journey, I guess. It does have its ups and downs. I know I'm all over the place with this discussion, but like I said, this video was just boring as hell. I wouldn't blame anyone if I just clicked on it and watched 5 seconds and backed out, but I know there's a lot of you will watch it and listen, and I appreciate that. We sure ain't paying no bills here with these long form videos. Messaged YouTube about it several times and they don't know what's up. I'll have one video get 1,000 views and another one get 70 views. I don't know. I've had some of you guys say that you don't get notified even if you have the bell on. I've tried to tell YouTube that. It is what it is. They'll always show me my analytics, which I've already looked at. And, one thing they've told me is I need to ask people to subscribe more. I just don't like asking anyone to do anything. Recommending the thumbs up, that's about as far as it's going to go. If someone wants to sub, they can sub. But I think this is that big naughty, not big, but this thing was horrible. Yeah, it stalled out the log splitter there a second ago. I thought I was going to have to go full throttle on the thing to get it to tear through it, but and these damn vines, that's what I dealt with on the whole cleanup of all the trees. And it had just turned summer when this happened. It was miserably hot out. It was one of them deals. You could work on it an hour or two and you had to go sit in the air conditioner for a while and cool off. And there's videos on the channel. Just look back a few months ago, like back around the 1st of June. Tornado damage. I think the worst one showing it all was called Welcome to the Jungle or something, just like the morning after. There may have been that evening. My Mustang, my daughter's Mustang, sitting right in the backyard, but luckily the house caught the big oak tree and it missed both cars. It's been a nightmare. Yeah, it is what it is, but I'm glad to have it all cleaned up. I'd also cut up a hot tub on this day. I brought it here from my dad's. It was fine at their house. No one used it anymore. He said, "Do you want it?" I said, "Yeah." So we loaded it up and brought it up here, and me and my daughter cleaned it up. Got it set up, filled it full of water, and it was just pouring everywhere. I fixed a couple leaks on it, but there was some more that popped up that just couldn't hardly be fixed, and then I think it was the small hickory tree just knocked it completely off of its foundation. Busted some pieces on it, busted more lines on it. I just like, hell with it, I'll get it out of here. So I took a skill saw and a sawzall and cut it up into about 6 big chunks and hauled it to the dump. Should have videoed that, it probably would have got more views than this, but whatever. Yeah, guys, that's the deal with the before and afters. It ain't to toot my own horn, I'm nothing special, I ain't doing nothing special. There's no big secret to any of this stuff. You heard myself and some others say it's all in the numbers. Your numbers mean more about it than anything. Your port work don't have to be perfect. It does not have to look like a piece of art. The cylinder don't have to be perfect. There's so much I've learned here just in trial and error doing this stuff myself. I'm playing around with these old junk saws, these cheap saws, flea market saws. Wherever you can pick them up. You know, if you find one at the dump that's fixable, you know, that's fine. Shit don't have to be perfect. I think people like the junk pile builds more than anything I do on the channel, I think. Don't get me wrong, these new saws are a blast to do. I do plan on doing my 362C. I do plan on doing the 500i. It'll probably be a while on that one. I just love running that thing the way it is now. It's one of the few saws I've ran that I like the way it sounds through the stock exhaust. I don't know, it may be weird being that way, but I've not even put a bark box or anything on it yet. It may just go in and open up the existing port on the muffler. I don't know. Like I said, it's just weird. I like the way it sounds the way it is. I like the way it performs the way it is. But, you know, I will eventually get into it and slowly start modifying it like we've done the 362C. That Echo 590, that was another saw, no machine work on it. Really wasn't much to be done once the squish is where you want it on those. Again, I don't know if that was common. I think I had another fella comment and say his squish was about where mine was at on that one. I think he said they were around 45 thou or something, or 40 thou with the base gasket, which was what mine was, I think. I think it was 40 thou when I checked it, and what we come up with 24 thou without the gasket, so I guess it's common, but first time I done it, I didn't really change much. I raised the primaries on it at least a little bit. It helped it a lot, but when I went back into it the second time, really raised the exhaust roof on it, because I'd heard so many people say that you couldn't get them to rev out, they never would be a fast saw. I don't know, again, it's all in the numbers. That one seems to be really quick, and in big red oak, it's really quick. How well it stands up against some of my other saws, I don't know. But evidently whoever muffler modded that had modded the carburetor and switched to the 620 coil on it. Someone had spent a little money on it, I guess. don't think this video's got a whole lot longer left, but I don't know what's about over when this little saw runs out of gas. You'll hear it in a little bit. I make a cut and I hit the kill switch with my hand or my glove somehow, and then I have to start it back, which I think's about right here or somewhere. Then I set it on the ground that goes idling up and down. I was like, well shit, did something tear up on it? And then I opened the gas cap. Ain't got no gas. And the only other thing I had sitting handy, and I only had a couple more of these little twigs to cut up, was that little power mac. Which ain't a bad running saw either. I give $40 for it off of a fella at the flea market. Yeah. Might make another cut after this one, I don't know. And then the video ain't got much left once we run the mini mac or the power mac. Mini macs are horrible. I've worked on a couple of those, but a little off topic, but like I said, we do run a mac. Yeah, here it is.
Empty.
No gas in it.
Ain't got no gas.
Yeah. Here we go with the McCulloch. We just kind of threw this in there. This thing just throws chips and dust everywhere. There's no type of safety feature, anything anywhere on it. I would say it's fun to run, but it's not if the wind's blowing any bit. You got shit all in your face. But, yeah, it's something. It sounds good. It sounds like a Mac. The way the fuel smells, it's probably been in it for 10 years. I'm just going to run it out of it. Like, whatever, they had enough oil dumped in it where it's safe, I think. But it just smells horrible. The sawdust kind of runs like shit till it warms up. So we'll tinker with it one day and tune around on it. But it'd probably end up just being a shelf queen. It's the way most of my Macs are. They're fun to get out every now and then, but anyone that says they enjoy getting out and running them, I don't know, they've never ran a modern saw. I don't know why I set this in here the way I did. I'm like, that's a funny looking log, funny looking twig. I was about wore out. We started, I don't know, not real early in the morning, but early enough where we had to take a break before I cut those up and go get lunch. And come home, finish that up, cut the hot tub up, and it's been a good Saturday's worth of work. But guys, I'm going to quit running my mouth. I'm going to wrap this one up. Again, the before and afters are just to show you what you can do, what you can expect. It ain't to toot my horn. Again, I ain't nothing special. My work ain't perfect. I have been around the performance game a long time, but I'm just me, and it just is what it is. But anyway, guys, thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all have a great day.